The $18.8 billion borderline useless bridge between Hong Kong and Macau.
This is where the Pearl River meets the South China Sea. To get from here, Hong Kong, to either of these places, Macau or Zhuhai, you could connect some trains or ferry for about 70 to 90 minutes at a cost of about 180 yuan, aka about 25 bucks, or, hear me out, you could save 15 minutes and 5 bucks by driving across this bridge. Assuming you hold at least 2 driver's licenses, 2 to 3 different insurance policies, and a near impossible to get crossing permits, at least. All of which begs the question, why would you ever drive across this bridge? And the bigger question, why would you build this bridge? And while both of these questions seem simple, I wouldn't and I wouldn't, they're pretty hot topics. But before we get into why, let's meet the Hong Kong-Zhuhai Macau Bridge, the $18.8 billion or 127.
I feel like they could have named it something cooler. First problem I'm thinking with is the branding. You don't name a bridge by the 2 places it already is. Everyone knows that. They know that because they're at the spot and they see the bridge. Give it a fucking bridge, dude. Give it a fucking bridge name.
Billion won project that won this week's title of Infrastructure Project So Absurd That I Think They Just Built It So I Could Make a Video. Look at this thing. 12.
The Golden Gate Bridge is the GOAT bridge name. it's iconic, dude.
Kilometers / 7.5 miles of road linking it to Hong Kong.
Imagine this was called like the Silver Dawn Bridge or something. And you're supposed to drive across it at dawn and look at the rising sun. It'd be fucking gore. You'd be so fucking proud of it.
Just shy of 30 kilometers / 18.5 miles of the main bridge, and 13.4 kilometers / I'm tired of conversions, it's a bit longer than the first part, linking it to Zhuhai. Between these 2 artificial islands, it goes underwater tunnel mode for about 6.5 kilometers, so as to not be in the way of the Port of Guangzhou's shipping lanes or anything going on at Hong Kong International Airport, which is right over here. It's one of the longest bridges in the world, estimated to have been built with enough concrete to make 22 Chrysler buildings and enough steel to make 60 Eiffel Towers.
Okay.
Ooh la la. It cost $18.8 billion over 9 years, $1.5 billion over budget, and 2 years behind schedule. But fear not, for while a pain to build...
Damn, it must be fucking crazy to build if it was in China and behind schedule. If it ran 2 years over in China and over budget, it must have been a fucking project.
It's also a pain to use. See, as you likely know, Hong Kong and Macau are special administrative regions of China, operating under the one country, 2 systems policy that gives them their own governments, laws, economic policies, trade relations, and a bunch of other stuff. All of which makes a bridge between all 3 pretty complicated. For starters, cars in mainland China drive on the right side of the road, while cars in Hong Kong, due to it being a former British colony, drive on the left. Macau rocks it lefty style too, even though they were a Portuguese colony, and even though Portugal switched to the right side in the 1920s. But even though both these places drive on the left, the whole part of the bridge is in mainland China's territorial waters, so you have to drive it on the right. Meaning, if you're driving from Hong Kong to Macau or Zhuhai, I assume to visit the world's largest aquarium, you have to go through these special viaducts that seamlessly switch you over from being on the left to being on the right. You also have to clear immigration twice, once on either side of the bridge, which is a pain, but not as big of a pain as what's coming for you if your car breaks down. If you
Okay, wait, do they still do this? There's no way, right? Holy shit. Hong Kong still drives on the left side of the road. That's crazy.
Down here, the Hong Kong police will get you towed somewhere safe, but you need to be ready to get yourself towed all the way out of there. Same deal in the tunnel, but instead of the police pulling you out, it'll be the tunnel's operating company. Same on the bridge, but there, the bridge authority tows you to the eastern artificial island before you're on your own. Unfortunately, if you break down in any of these places, there's a good chance your car will need to be towed across the borders between Hong Kong, Macau, and mainland China, so the government recommends you travel with contact info for tow companies willing to deal with all of that before you begin to cross the bridge. That is, assuming you get the opportunity to begin to cross the bridge. Because, like I said before, doing it in your own car takes a mountain of paperwork. Let's start with the car insurance. You need policies in Hong Kong, Macau, and mainland China, even if you're only going from Hong Kong to Macau, since while you're on the bridge, whoopsie, you're in China. Along with being triple insured, you need a valid driver's license in both Hong Kong and mainland China. If you have all that, you might qualify for a long-term permit to drive your car from Hong Kong to Zhuhai as you wish. There aren't many available, but hey, someone has to get them. And the rest of the qualifications are super chill and simple. You just need to have paid over 100,000 yuan, like 15,000 bucks, in taxes to mainland China, or you can work at a quote, recognized high-tech enterprise, or you can have donated over 5 million yuan to some type of mainland charity, or be a member of either the National People's Congress or the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, which is, let me check, a total of just under 300 people in Hong Kong.
Okay,
so, yes,
easy.
As long as you have 3 insurance policies, 2 licenses, one of that menu of political or financial connections to mainland China, and a partridge in a pear tree, you just might get a long-term permit, depending on your residency status, of course. Now, there are a bunch of different types of permits and some low daily quota for cars allowed to cross without one, but to give you a broad sense of how few people get to cross, when they created a program in 2023 to exempt northbound cars from Hong Kong from paying customs duties, 17,000 people.
When I do my trip to China, the first thing I'm doing is driving across this bridge with no fucking license. Okay, I'm streaming it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be badass. All right, I'm going to have 4 American flags on my car. And it's going to go well.
Applied for the permit, and only 1,600 got it. That's a lower acceptance rate than Berkeley. Of course, there are other ways across the bridge, namely a bunch of bus lines. But
yeah, and if I get caught, I'll tell them I'm Squeaks. I'll tell them, my name is Squeaks. Okay, take it up with the embassy.
They drop you 30 minutes away from the city center in Hong Kong and 20 minutes from the iconic Lisboa Casino in Macau.
Last name,
Why
Bald.
not just take the ferry? That, as it turns out, is what most people seem to do. In 2019, just over 1.5 million vehicles crossed the bridge for an average of less than 4,200 a day. For comparison, in 2022, the bridge from Denmark to Sweden saw over 18,000 vehicles per day. For more comparison, the ferry route between Hong Kong and Macau serves over 15,000 people a day, a number that, according to this publication, indicates that the route is, quote, languishing. So either the bridge is languishing, or there is some serious carpooling going on. All of which brings us back to the question, why build this? Just because you have a beef with pink dolphins and want to stick a bridge in their house? Well, for one reason, the mainland Chinese government has long envisioned that this whole place would become one big economic hub called the Greater Bay Area.
Oh my God.
San Francisco.
They're trying to mog San Francisco? The Greater Bay Area? They come up with a Chinese Steph Curry that can drain even more threes. Fuck!
United by infrastructure projects. It also does reduce travel times by road between some locations. For example, getting from Hong Kong's airport to Zhuhai went from being a nearly 5-hour drive to a 45-minute one. And of course, big projects can create their own demand. Sort of a field of dreams effect where you build it and the people are like, huh, I work in Hong Kong, but now I can keep my job and live closer to the aquarium. Not to mention that traffic is always really light, which is so nice. Now, all that's what Hong Kong Macau Zhuhai bridge stands would say, but what about the haters? Well, they might note that demand for travel between these two cities is already served by existing land, air, and sea links, or that using a bridge is so inconvenient it's not worth it for the people it's supposed to serve, or that it was a huge oversight to not include rail on this bridge if they wanted more people to use it. Haters might also note that this, along with the high-speed
rail on the bridge would be
Hong
sick.
Kong and mainland China around the same time, is a physical encroachment from the Chinese government, blurring the border between mainland China and the special administrative regions. After all, the high-speed rail link brought mainland security forces to Hong Kong since they're stationed at the, well, station. All told, this thing is an impressive feat of engineering, sure, but above that, freakishly expensive and nearly useless to the people it's ostensibly for. And I don't know, I feel like if you're gonna do something impressive, expensive, and useless, you may as well just build those 60 Eiffel Towers. And while other people are blowing money on 60 Eiffel Towers, how about you wisely spend yours with this video sponsor,
NordVPN. You guys know it. You made your decision on that. Interesting video. We learned a lot about bridges today. What else we got?